We heard from the Prime Minister, the outgoing Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, a little bit earlier, John, saying, quote, this was a very dumb thing to do. What exactly is Canada's next move?
Well, the retaliatory tariffs that we very quickly saw remain from Canada was part of a plan the Canadian government has been working on for weeks now. Of course, nobody knew we would officially get to this moment, but they had been at the ready to reach this moment. There's basically a tiered approach from the federal government here on tariffs. There will be a larger amount of U.S. goods that are tariffed in about 3 weeks' time, bigger ticket items. And the government has been quite selective in which markets it's approaching for now. But it's a unique time. You mentioned the Prime Minister, who is about to step down, and a new Liberal Party leader will be selected. And at some point in the near future, we will likely see a federal election in this country. But to a certain extent, it has left a little bit of a power void, a power vacuum. To that point, you have seen not just federal government responses, but here in the province of Ontario, the newly re-elected Premier Doug Ford putting a tax on Ontario Power that's going to multiple states in the United States. So there is this approach at both the provincial and federal level to fight back. But at the end of the day, this is potentially economically damaging the entire situation, as you know, for Canada. And a lot of economists are very quickly predicting that if this goes on for a relatively long amount of period, it's quite easily going to create a recessionary environment in this country.
John, what kind of fiscal support did Prime Minister Justin Trudeau offer businesses that have to contend now with tariffs?
You know, it's an excellent question, Alex, because I think in the short term, what Bay Street and Wall Street are looking at is the monetary policy response. We do actually have a Bank of Canada interest rate decision upcoming. Increasingly, there's an expectation you'll see a rate cut at that meeting. Before this whole episode, Canada's economy, because of some rate cuts, was actually looking a little bit better. And now there are a number of firms that are anticipating we could see a number of cuts. TD thinks 4 rate cuts by the summer. But to your question about the fiscal supports, the Prime Minister, again, he's going to be stepping down from that role quite soon, talked about being at the ready with some supports for Canadians. But remember, the fiscal picture in this country is a challenged one as well. And there was a hope that if you do see a federal election and perhaps a new government that is more pro-business, that there ultimately would be an attempt to deal with the fiscal challenges in this country. So a lot of people we've been speaking to are saying when we do see Parliament get back to business, remember the Prime Minister had prorogued Parliament in part because of his challenges in staying in power. There would likely be some kind of meaningful fiscal support if there is no road ahead to resolving the tariff issue. But a lot of business leaders are hoping that there will be some targeted stimulus that will help industries to enable Canada to figure out a growth plan for the future. Just as a point of highlight on that, we spoke to the head of a major mining company today that is looking for more action on the pro-business side for the country to take this moment and seize that opportunity to find a path forward.